Hi, this is Pete the Tech Guy, and this is a special bonus commentary for subscribers and non-subscribers alike. It's Memorial Day, and I'm here at the Upper Common in Fitchburg, where you see the monument for the Civil War veterans and these white crosses. Now, the white crosses that you're seeing over here are the crosses for people who died during World War II fighting. You're going to see a couple. The one in front, they're all arranged alphabetically. The fellow in front is Gerald Bonham. Right behind him is my cousin Paul Cadulo, who died fighting in World War II. Now, that first big monument went up a couple of years after the end of the Civil War, and these crosses go up for Memorial Day every year and come down around the 4th of July. These are the war dead of Fitchburg who fought during World War II. Now, you'll notice, it's Memorial Day. There's probably going to be some ceremonies up at a different common near the gazebo, but this area is pretty empty. You've got one guy walking a dog, but the park is fairly empty, and most of the time, people will come by here, and maybe they'll notice the crosses during the couple of months that they're up. Maybe they'll notice the statue. Maybe some people will go up and take a quick peek at it. But generally, it's just part of the landscape. Nobody ever sees it, even though it's there in front of them every single day. But I want to talk a little bit about what these things mean and why on Memorial Day especially, you have to come over here, you have to look at these names, and you have to remember what these guys did. You know, we talk about the troubles America has, and America has plenty of problems, and Fitchburg certainly has plenty of problems. We have a lot of empty storefronts. We have, there's gangs in town, more drugs than we'd like. The city has budget issues, so there's a lot going wrong in Fitchburg. And of course, nationwide, we've got the budget issues. We've got scandals like the IRS scandal, Benghazi, etc., AP scandal, etc., etc. There's plenty of problems going on, but by and large, America is still one of the safest places to be, one of the best places to be, and frankly, the best country in the world to live. And one of the great parts about America is the freedoms. I mean, I am here at this public spot recording this commentary. I don't have to worry about someone saying, you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't do that. I can walk down the streets here and generally feel safe. I can worship the way I please. There's a lot of things I can do as an American citizen that a lot of people in a lot of countries can't do. I mean, just last week in England, you have people who were arrested for criticizing the guy who slaughtered that British soldier in the streets. But this is the thing that a lot of people forget about all. No, you can keep walking and going. Don't worry. Don't mind me. There's a lot of things that people forget about all of these things. When you talk about World War II, everyone thinks about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he was president during World War II, and he had the sense to recognize that the Nazis were a threat and to take action with Lend-Lease and all these other things. But in the end, while Franklin Roosevelt was in charge, it wasn't FDR that conquered Germany and stopped the Nazis. It was these guys. We talk about Abraham Lincoln as the great emancipator, the man who freed the slaves. Well, Lincoln is the man who freed the slaves in the sense that he didn't give up, but it wasn't Lincoln who did it. It's those guys over there whose names are over there. The guys, Memorial Day reminds us that all those things, all those freedoms we have, came because of these guys. These guys were willing to risk it. Now, maybe some were drafted, maybe some volunteered, maybe some were brave, maybe some were cowardly. We don't know. At least I don't know, because I don't know most of these individual people, although Mr. Cadulo is a relative of mine, but he died 25 years before I was born. But that's not the point. The point is that they were there. Regardless of the reason, regardless of the cause, regardless of anything, they were there to take the risk. And it comes down to it, as it was said in the Wall Street Journal today, it wasn't the Founding Fathers who gave us our independence. It wasn't the Declaration of Independence. It was the Continental Army. Without the Continental Army, You don't have those things. Now also you need the will, of course. If Lincoln had given in to those who said let the South go, we might still have slavery today, although probably not, because it was for other reasons. If people had listened to, if Roosevelt had listened to the isolationists, we might not have fought Germany. We might have only fought Japan, and a lot more than the 6 million Jews would have died, and England would be speaking German today. So I want to take the camera for this commentary, and I want to show you some names. And right now I'm going to take the camera off myself, and we're going to focus on some of the names here. And again, these are names you have probably never heard. You'll probably never see these names again or think of these names because they're not from your hometown. But let's take a look at a few of these. This guy here is Gerald Barnacle. I don't know if he's any relation to Mike Barnacle, but it wouldn't surprise me. But he fought in World War II and died. Paul Cardullo was my mother's cousin. This is the first year that she's not here to remember him, because she died 6 months ago. But she used to write him letters and ask how he was. He's buried in Sicily right now. No, I think he's buried in Tunisia. Sicily or Tunisia. I'd have to look it up in the registry online. But there's a lot of names here. Dana Goodwin, Alphonse Donato, Wayne Freeburg, Leon Bellevue, Richard Crowell. All of these different guys. Mr. Martineau, Frederick Dogle, Wilfred Morin. These are all people, Carl Savagli, Raymond Thomas. If you want to know how Hitler was stopped, how the Japanese were stopped, the people you got to remember are these guys. Gavin McCole. All of these guys, more than Roosevelt. Roosevelt gave the orders, but these guys carried them out. John Cushing over here. And it's not a sad thing or a bad thing to take one day out of the year to remember guys like Edwin Rill. I know nothing about Edwin Rill. I don't know which, although I could probably look it up. I don't know where he was born in town. I don't know where he lived. I don't know what he did. But I know he did that. He went off and fought and never came back. Joseph Testagrossa, a name familiar. In fact, some of these names are on a memorial in front of my church. But all of these fellows, most of them Christian, as you can see one Jewish marker, although I don't see the name. I presume there's a name on the back. No, there's no name here, but there's a Jewish fellow here. But these are all names that you should remember. And when people remember Abe Lincoln, let's take a look at a few other names that people might not know. Here, this is the monument up here. There's Lieutenant Colonel George Marshall from the 40th Regiment. First Lieutenant Charles Upton, Corporal Greg Farnsworth. These are all people killed in battle. Private Martin Ryan. You talk about Saving Private Ryan. There's a Private Ryan. He died on June 17th, 1864. You can see the list of names here. Dates from 1861 all the way to 1865 of people from Fitchburg who died in battle. And there are others here who died from wounds and disease. Gilbert Cherry, Corporal in the 2nd Regiment of Mass Infantry, 1862, died of wounds. Simon Marshall, a sergeant who died June 6, 1864. July 3rd, you see Joseph Chase, July 3rd, that was 1863. Could have been Gettysburg, could have been Vicksburg. More likely Gettysburg than Vicksburg, or could have been in other places. And there were all these people who died of disease. Chash Goodrich, he's a musician. November 12th, 1864. Private Edward Holman, Mass Infantry, November 10th, 1862. All of these different people. And these are names you pass by these statues every day. Yet all of these guys who died, whether it's Rodney Hall, who was another musician, to William H. Hadrian, who was on the gunboat Granite City, who died September 18th, 1864. If these guys don't go, slavery doesn't end in 1865. So, when you talk about great events and talk about the country that we have right now, and all the good that we have, all the ability we have to do the things we do, and to live the way we want to live, just remember these guys over here, because all of these guys are the reason why we're able to do this. And Unless there are other guys willing to take the risk. Because remember, all these guys understood the risk. Nobody wants to go to the war. No one wants to get shot at and killed. But all these guys understood the risks. And they went anyways. They didn't run off. They didn't desert. They didn't take off. They went. So next time someone talks about, you know, the soldier as the baby killer, or that all these people just go and kill innocents, just remember, the ability to say what they're saying and do what they're doing, beating up on these guys, is predicated on these guys willing to fight. Because otherwise it would be a very different world. And a lot of the things that we're free to do right now, we wouldn't be free to do. So remember that. Well, that's it for this commentary, and later this week, look out for my regular subscriber commentary. If you want to see it, just go to the tip jar, hit the tip jar for any amount, and I will send you this week's commentary. Hit subscribe for any amount, and you'll get the commentaries every single week. This is Pete the Tech Guy from Fitchburg's Common on Memorial Day, saying, don't forget.